Hello. Oh, you're muted.
There we go.
How's it
How are you?
going? I'm good. How are you? Happy Thursday.
Yeah, happy Thursday. How was the week overall for you?
Not bad. It's been hot, but it's been okay. How about yours?
Yeah, steady, steady.
Okay.
A lot of conversations. Just feels like I keep looking to the side. A lot of conversations about simping and getting hit in the head with a brick.
Mm.
The young lady that's in the news right now on social media, but a
Yes.
lot of conversations about, do you let a man hit you? And if one does hit you, if a woman does hit you, do you hit her back?
What do you think
You
about that conversation, those topics?
knock the hell out of him. No,
You hit
uh,
him with a brick.
yeah, you hit him with a brick to the white meat. You know, the
Ugh.
my true answer is this, which led to someone telling me that I was a simp. I was like, okay, so that was a good conversation. Here's my answer. It depends, of course, but there are people who believe they have the right to do so. And I say people will only treat you how you allow them, how you teach them
Mm.
to treat you. So therefore, people in my circle wouldn't hit me without me earning it. So if it's unearned, unjustified,
Mm-hmm.
we have a problem. Because it's about my survival just as much as anyone else's survival. And then, I talk about future generations. So wiping me out also impacts my family, future generations. So I have a right to protect myself. And that's the fine line. You have to know the difference between, I suggest and recommend people know the difference between pausing, thinking about it, and then retaliating versus getting hit. And I don't mean like pausing, because if you get hit and it shocks you, of course, that's going to cause a pause. The second you come out of that pause, the defense. So I have a right to defend myself. So if a woman, man, anyone hits me, unjustifiably so. So again, I have people in my inner circle who, I'm a jokester, blah, blah, blah. But if I hit that line where they would be like, man, please, we would tussle.
Right.
Unjustified hitting me just because you believe you can, you have the right to, you got your feelings hurt, I have a right to defend myself. If, though, there's some pause and delay, I have to be mindful of how much later it is that I'm hitting you. You say, well, you hit me, you get hit
Mm.
back no matter if it's a day later. But I
Mm.
might end up doing, because now I had time to think about it, which should de escalate it.
Right.
But my fear is when I hit that person, I'm hitting them to make up for what they did to me and anyone else who's ever hurt me. So I might go above and beyond in my response. And I don't mean like planned, in the movies when they get the guns, yeah, let's ching, 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 ching. I don't mean
Mm-hmm.
that. I mean, when I come out of that shock value to the point where I feel like I'm going to hit this person back, I have to be careful because the rage, for all the times when you feel played, for all the times you feel like someone got over on you, for all the times you may have been hit and you didn't get to hit back, for all the
Right.
times, and not every hit's like like a hit to you, but a time you took a hit on your taxes, a time that you took a hit on your paycheck, a time that you took a hit. So now the fact that so some of those things are out of my control. Come on, man, Uncle Sam, like for real, like I want to fight, but realistically, me fighting Uncle Sam, so that's a loss. So when I'm thinking now this person hit me and I have opportunity to respond, I have to be careful that I'm not collecting all of the perceived losses and now taking it out on this person. He
Like
said,
this
well, I don't know. People have
bit.
person said, yeah, I don't have much time to be doing all that thinking. Like, if you hit me, I ain't got time to. Well, it was a loss, and there's the third and the fourth. And I don't mean it that way. It goes much faster than that. Again, if it's already outside of my circle of people who I would even consider to be like, hey, you playing too much. You need to, if it's outside of that, then there's already a threat. That's not even a, what was that? No, it's already a threat. It is already an assault, and I have to defend myself.
Right.
But if the time lapse, and I'm circling, so I'm saying it more than once, but if the time lapse between me getting my thoughts together, I mean, again, if you just all of a sudden wallop and boom, boom, I'm fighting. There's
Right.
there's no discussion. But if it's because the lady that they were talking about these conversations, she actually was going through whatever they accused her of. Again, there's different stories. You know how media works, social media, that she
Right.
hit the person. And on the actual video, if it's staged or not, you see her. So based on the presentation, not the
Yeah.
facts. I mean, not if it's staged or not. Based
Like
on
the
what I
optics
saw in that
or
video,
whatever.
she slaps
Yeah.
a guy. If
Mm.
someone just walked and slapped me in that setting, they were public street, something in the public street, and she kept walking. And I know mental illness is real, is a real thing. So there's a pause between what the hell? Did this just now me then chasing them down to be like, did you just hit me? Uh,
Right.
yeah. So that's the part where I was warning some people who have anger issues, rage issues, and then also how much do you take an advantage of? Because the debate, do you hit a woman? No matter what, no matter all that jibber jabber I just said, the fact that she's a woman, do you hit her at all? So the debate that I was having earlier in the week was the people who I was talking to, they said, I'm tracking her down. Like if I have to go through the crowd and turn people around, and I'm ready to cold cock her. So then is that because she's a woman? If you go back to the original conversation or one of the original debates about the Chris Rock, do you remember that slap on stage?
Mm-hmm.
One of the big debates was would Will have done that if it were 50 Cent? Would he have done it if it were not tiny old Chris? So my debate was, would you
Mm.
hit her if she's and some people were like, I don't give a damn. She could have been 10 times bigger than me. You hit me, I'm hitting you back. Cool. And then there was some who really thought about it and was like, it's not so much if they would hit a woman, but they admitted that they do the sensory in their body when you know you have an advantage and the opportunity to express it all through this opportunity or
Mm.
through this advantage. You stomped him. Like, why? You shouldn't have, but you stomped him. That was like an opportunity.
Where it all came out.
Yes.
I could see that. I think that happens. I think that actually happens a lot.
Hmm. And I think about
Like,
just a few fights that I've been in, fist fights,
yeah.
and they all have been afterthought.
Oh, like it wasn't right following, a situation.
No.
It was later on.
Well, I went to PS28 where a little, I better not say that. They were legit. I was playing. We had a little game called the Playboys, the Papitos, PS128. I wasn't in the game, but you know how you get along with everybody? I can go to one side of town and get along with that guy, and I can get along with this. So I was one
Yeah.
of those guys.
Yeah.
And I remember they used to have like weekly schoolyard fights, like a week, like Friday boxing match and Friday. And I got thrown into one of those, and I just happened to win. Just happened to win. But I think it was like a charity match for me. Like, oh, that's because I'm like I
Oh.
said, I'm not the true gangster. I think it was a charity match. But then someone then was like, "Oh, you're going to continue," and I had to. And
Oh.
I'm like, yeah, I thought, weren't we just playing? I was trying to back out of it, and they forced me. Well, when I went home to my mama, and she said, "Do I need to go up to the school,
Oh.
die by mama, or kill them?" So it was an after effect. Like it was and I had time to.
Oh.
I'm willing to bet if I didn't have that motivation, I couldn't say I would have won that fight. It wasn't even a fight. The second I saw him,
So it wasn't even like you had history, like boys were just fighting?
No, so that little weekly yard fight, I was there, like wanted to cheer it on. But again,
Mhm.
I'm neutral. I was more a jokester, the
Right.
Nakumbi. Everyone likes Nakumbi. But one of the times they were like, "You're here, you're in it." I'm like, "Whoa, whoa, no, no, no." And so the
Mm.
person who they pit put pit pit, yeah, the person that they
Yeah, like pit against
yeah
you?
pit me
Yeah.
against me for our little wrestling around. Like I was like, yeah, like I won. Like I won't say I went and beat him up, but I won the little wrestle or whatever the
Right.
tussling around we did, to the point where afterwards someone was saying like, yeah, yeah, now you need to. I'm like, oh, no, 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 no. And I really took it as I was just messing around. I'm not a fighter. But
Right.
they were, no, you have to, because you fight, like you do 3 4 rounds until you lose or whatever. So I had to do the next one, and they hit me a couple times, and I ran. Pew! I was out. Pew! A little skinny kid.
Really?
I was gone. And then during the school week, they were like, "Oh, you blah blah blah," and I was like, "Hey, you know my bus number. Meet me at the bus." I walked
Oh.
home, but I was telling them, "Meet me at the bus." You got. Oh,
Yes,
they'll be out
man.
there in front of 128 waiting for the bus, and I'm like running home.
Oh, they were gonna
But
get
then one day my
killed.
mom was like, what's going on now?" I mean, I guess she could just sniff the bitch, and she
Yeah.
just sniffed it and was like, what's going on? And the second she asked, I mean, I knew even telling her like, nah, they and Friday was the the brawl day, and it was like
Yeah.
Thursday. It's like I am
Um,
dead. Like I'm, and the
mm,
second that bell rung, 3 p.m. I went outside to that backyard, and it wasn't thought and like, hey, let's do it. It was boom. I already knew the person, the guy I was supposed to go against, and I was just filled with rage, filled out of fear. So again, the few little fights I've had in my life have all been after the fact. And then my other suggestion, and then we'll get on topic here. My other suggestion: those who do fight and those who do have anger, watch how many times we're actually fighting other people for something that happened for something differently. So I'm upset with you about something, but I take advantage of fighting this so and so. So that lady, was she hitting people because of whatever was going on? They had nothing to do with it. Per the video, if it's fake or not, that man had nothing to do
right.
with whatever. So again, staged or not. But if you go off that analogy, someone just hits you. I'm going to teach them a lesson. You don't hit me, or is it like for real? Is that person crazy? That's kind of
Right.
your warning. I'm not going to allow that again. But
Right.
the law says if you chase someone and you hurt them afterwards, you get in trouble. And I know this from my short time in the justice field with the police. You shoot
Mhm.
after the fact in Arizona. If you shoot
Mm.
after they passed you, so the threat is towards me, I'm in danger, danger, danger,
Mhm.
equal
Who's
danger.
behind you?
Pass me, I'm no longer in danger according to the state of
Mm.
Arizona. I'm already out of the angle of danger. So if you
Mm.
continue shooting or if you hit behind after, you get in trouble because you were no longer in danger.
Right. Ooh, that's some tricky stuff, but
Right.
I think what's interesting though about because this I can see parallels between this, this situation, or people, going to fight someone to almost we could say like seek revenge. Or I don't know what the purpose is, and that's a question I have. But if it's not their rage from that instance and it's from someone else, it's kind of like the same thing with our topic here, where you're talking trash about someone, but it's really not about that person. Like, we know as
Right.
coaches and you as a therapist. But I want to ask first, what what is because I can understand defending yourself. Um, but my thought is, and maybe it's because I am a female. I mean, we can all be honest here.
Hmm.
Boys fight
Hmm.
more, so like, they will tussle, especially when they're younger.
Hmm.
Um, but what are you trying to get out of it?
Hmm. Well, it depends.
Are
I
you
mean, for
trying to
so
get them to
I'll
change
answer
or
that, but
something?
are you?
Yeah, go
So
ahead.
let me go back to what. But then, would you hit a guy
No.
for any reason? Like if you friend, not
Unless
friend, you felt some kind of way. Do your husband? If you felt some, well, that, you don't have to be that person. But would you hit a? Would you hit a guy? Would you hit anybody? And let alone would you hit a man?
no, unless it's like self-defense or something,
Okay.
or like get
Um.
off me, like try to like shove them away, but
Yeah. If you
I
did
had
for some
fought with
reason,
my
like, oh
sister,
my
but
gosh, and maybe you backhand him, like, stop, like, well,
oh,
you deserved
no.
it. Would
No.
you think it would be okay? This is a weird question. Would it be okay if you hit someone? What are your thoughts on if they hit you back, especially if it's a man?
Um, it might be an unpopular opinion, but I do think but I think this goes for both people. I
Mm-hmm.
shouldn't have hit him. Like, I shouldn't have hit him.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Mm-hmm.
I don't think he should hit me, but at the same
Right.
time, I don't think either like, I should not I can only control me, I shouldn't be hitting people.
Right.
So, it's kinda
The
like
whole,
one of those things where you can't then what happens to you after that? Well,
yeah. No, yeah, exactly. The whole goal is it should be no hitting at all, right? That
right.
for us to even get to that point, how do we even get to this point of hitting? Once we
Right.
pass that threshold and we put our hands on somebody, we
Right.
already passed that boundary. We put our hand on somebody. Then the thought is, well, wait a second. If I cross that boundary and I bring you with me, like I hit you,
Mhm.
if it's a woman or not, there's self defense. But
Mhm.
there was a time when they said, well, men were
Right.
very respectful. You can hit them, and they would either say, "Stop, don't, what's wrong with you,"
Right.
and not hit back under any circumstances.
Right.
And I think I can say, well, I have a little bit of that, like, whoa, that person must be crazy. Why did you, what's going on? But,
Mhm.
I've seen some videos where people just, talking crazy to you. At that moment, I know I have enough common sense. This is about to turn into a fight. So I had that
Right.
awareness, not even common sense. Common sense is gone out the window. I had that awareness, like,
Facts.
this is danger. And then I have the
Right.
awareness of how I'll respond. Like I said, I'm not a major fighter. So I think of the one opportunity that I do get. The opportunity that I do get, I have to make it count. I have to make it
Just
count. And
going
I don't mean that in a
home.
threatening way. I'm just saying, like, I know my history where I'm like, whoa, chicken up front. But then my response, once I had time to think about it,
Mm.
like, you almost, you almost kill me. So the
You
time I have been
mm.
threatened over a Tecmo Bowl football game. You know Tecmo Bowl? You know about that?
That sounds it sounds familiar.
All right. I'm gonna tell you what it is
What
in a
is it?
second. Let me tell you in a second. I have two things to tell you, right? Because I have to answer your question, and I'll tell you what Tecmo
Okay.
Bowl is in a second. Let's check in first. Welcome to Black Men Unfiltered Network and our show with Dr. Nakumbi and Coach K, and we are doing breaking the cycle. So welcome, welcome, welcome. We have in the chat Lady Navoa. What's up, Lady
Hey, girl.
Navoa? Beautiful animated speaks is in the
Hey,
house.
beautifully animated.
What's up, beautiful animated Sean Navoa? I'm Sean Navoa. I'm sorry. Sean Bolden is in the house. Sean
Hey, Sean.
Bolden's in the house. What's up, Sean? Thanks for stopping through. And cool. That's who we have now. And Mr. Simon
Simon
Hectic.
sends the
What's up? I see
eyeballs.
your eyeballs. What's up? What's up?
All
Glad you're
right.
swinging through as well. So welcome, everyone. Welcome to the
Yes.
channel. Please, if you have not yet, hit the like button. So we have 6 likes on people. Yep. So thank you. So hit the like button. If you have anyone that you think would appreciate this conversation, which we already started to talk about, but just to kind of
Mm,
bring it exactly on track, we're
right.
talking about judging, but not only judging and having an opinion, but really that judgment, where does it come from? And especially if I'm taking out my stuff and projecting it or shooting it out on someone else by gaslighting, talking badly about them, judging them, shaming them. But if you look at the topic, if you look at the issue, if you look at the concern, if you listen to what the true complaints about, am I really just doing one of these numbers? And that's the conversation we're getting into tonight. So welcome, welcome, welcome. Please ask, put any questions you have in the chat. And then as far as any comments and stuff, we'll get those up later. Coach K and I are going to orchestrate this and CBN will kick in later. So we're just doing our piece for now. So if we don't get to something right away, we will. But again, CBN will be able to help us in a little bit. So for now, put your questions in the chat, hit the like button, and please do enjoy the conversation. All
Yes.
right.
Thank you.
Tecmo Bowl, Coach K.
Yeah, what?
It's football. It's John Madden football before John Madden was popular. Tecmo Bowl. It's video game. It's Nintendo.
I gotta look it up.
Yeah. But so I
Oh
was
my
part of
gosh,
elite.
the
Yeah,
graphics.
Herschel Walker was on the Dallas team, and he could just run through anything. Jerry Rice in Montana can just do anything. I mean, like one of those unfair, like it'd be 4th and 900, and you pick Herschel Walker, and you could just. So anyway,
Oh,
I was
I bet
Buffalo Bills.
my dad probably knows.
Yeah. I was Jim. It was Kelly was the quarterback. I was the Buffalo Bills. And when I lost the first game, I really lost. And I'd
Mhm.
say run it back, like, and I couldn't believe I lost. Like I really, I was stuck on stupid. I said run it back, and he did. But I'm not a big better. But the guy was like a double or nothing. I was like, yeah, you can make whatever you want because I knew I was determined to. I mean, you can make whatever you want. I agreed to the term double or nothing. Anyway, by halftime it was like 28-0. And this guy
Mm.
jumped up, but I'll admit, who did I have? I think I had San Fran. I had one of the teams that the defense guy is not like a computer blip, but it's the same way Herschel Walker can go through 900 people. This whatever you're on the defense, you can just as soon as he hikes the ball, I can. That's the guy could never get a
Feel like
playoff.
that.
I mean, so 28-0 halftime. This guy leaves the room, and whoever's house you're at, that's the stadium rules you have to follow. So you come to my house, we're having pizza and stuff, and the stadium rules and joysticks and stuff. You had to wear gloves. You couldn't get all that greasy stuff on my joysticks.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So this guy's house, anyway, this guy walks away calmly, like puts the joystick down, gets up, comes back with an iron skillet, and is standing over me with an iron skillet, and was ready to knock me in the head because he said I played him. Like I lied about knowing how to play the game. And when we ran it back, remember, I switched teams. I don't know if I told you that part. I was New York Giants, and I switched
Oh,
to
okay.
San Fran because one, I wanted to win, and I know the same way Herschel Walker could, and I knew Montana and Rice. It's almost like a cheating. I mean, it wasn't cheating, but the way the game was made, they made them like they were just a super, super, super unstoppable. So I was like, I'm gonna be San Fran. He's like, I don't care.
Why is
I
that
mean,
your
before that,
fault?
before that was Buffalo. So then San Fran, and then I'm winning. He's standing over me, but the initial fear actually caused me to go into more of a freeze.
Mhm. Right.
And part of the conversations I've been having with people about how if someone hit them, they would just. But I said, well, did you take into account for those of you who had I was talking to some guys who have anger issues. It was an anger guys group for people with anger issues. And these
Yeah.
guys were like, man, blah, 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 blah. But the reality for some of them is it's almost better that they do fight right away. Because if they take time
Mm.
to think about it and process, they are coming to delete.
Delete.
They are coming to delete. I don't mean go home and arm up. I mean, in about 10 minutes, that person is going to be wiped off the earth because the way they process. So, same thing, this guy with a skillet standing over me. And I went into, because I remember when my mom walloped me with a skillet in the head. So, for a hot second, it
Mhm.
was like flashback.
Right.
So, again, I'm not a fighter. But the end of that, there's a little girl crying who happened to be his daughter who came with him to watch him play games. He's down on the ground. I'm standing with a skillet. But between the time that he came back with the skillet, and I know he wasn't coming to cook any eggs or anything, he's carrying the skillet down. From the time he started coming back to the time I can recall what was going on, I'm standing over him. So when you
Oh
have those
my
type
god.
of responses, you have to be careful because hit me, I hit you back. That timeline between hitting back that processing between hitting back and then taking advantage of if she's a woman, like I'm doubling down because it is someone who I feel like it could happen to a man too, but someone who I believe is less
Right.
less than me. So anyway, that was my week. A lot of those conversations. To your other question,
Wow.
I'm I'm talking a lot, but we were
No, no,
comparing
no,
this
no. Y
to our topic, and I think what was the question
Yeah.
you were asking? Like, do I see this a lot, or why does it happen? Why do men? So that was a different
What do they
question.
think they're
Why
gonna
do
get out of
men
it? Yeah.
hit, or what do they get out of it?
Yeah, what do they think they're going to do? Like, what is the desire or what are they striving for? Which they don't probably realize in the moment, but something is fueling them to because and then I'll let you answer. But I'm thinking about more so because I approach this conversation from a female standpoint, obviously. But like if I'm in again, I'm gonna say this.
Hmm.
I no one should be putting hands on anyone. Okay?
Hmm.
Like clear that's just clear.
Hmm.
But I as a female, why would I go up to a grizzly bear and like think that it shouldn't like try and come get me? Now that might be a little extreme,
Right,
but you know what I mean? Like what am I trying to do here?
right.
Am I
So,
trying to
but I
prove
think,
a
yeah,
point?
yeah, yeah, right.
So tell me what the goal is.
Hmm. In my mixed personal and professional perspective, there's a belief confidence, there's an overconfidence, there's a privilege, there's an arrogance.
Mm.
Now, I'm in the wilderness as human, and bear is what? A bear can't do math like I can. A bear is not a human. A bear doesn't drive the car that I drive. So there's an arrogance,
Mhm.
ignorance, stupidity,
Right.
not using common sense, mixed with a strong belief, an erroneous strong belief that this is okay, that this is okay. And then, pending what I've watched, on TV, they say if you just, with the bear, if you hold still, and then maybe something I've studied. Oh, I know what I'm doing. I know what I'm doing.
Oof.
So when the bear is now attacking me, eating a bite, taking a bite out of my cheeks, um, I believe then there's this shock and awe, like, how dare you? So when it comes to some of the
Right.
men, even if you didn't hit me, how dare you? Because if you hit me or not, my response is as aggressive. And I wonder if it's part of it is because I've just not been honest with myself. So if you say, dude, last time I seen you, you look like you've been putting on weight. So if my true struggle in life is weight control,
Mhm.
you felt confident in making the statement, pending how well you know me or don't know me, it could be overconfident. You believe that you had a right to say so. You have a right to speech. You have a right to say what you want.
Mhm.
Freedom of speech. I agree with the quote from the back in the day. There's freedom of speech as long as you don't say too much. But
Yeah.
then I'm a woman or I'm in a protected class. Um, for you, say, well, I'm a white woman. So
Mhm.
let's say there's a few kind of mile markers there. Like I think
Mhm.
it's okay. Nakumbi is cool. He's funny. Huh. Bear. I know a thing or two about bears. I'm a human. What's he going to do? I can outrun him.
Mm.
So my attack about the weight thing. So even though you didn't hit me, but maybe I give a warning, like, hey, whoa, that's off. You went too far. Don't talk about. And then I'm
Mhm.
either trying to get a point. I call it get my power back. I'm attempting to get my power back by the insults or the fighting you. I may not say those words like I'm gonna get my power back, but it's an F you,
Yeah.
like screw you, or well, oh, whoa, are we talking about weight? What about when you're chunky? Oh no, no. See, why are we going there? In fact, I was just saying like, hey, why are we
You want
no?
the upper
And then
hand
yes, and
almost,
I feel
yeah.
offended that now it feels like you're backpedaling. No, I don't care why you said it. And then I'm giving you the very instructions that I should follow. You should have thought about that first.
Right.
Hmm. Right? Hmm.
Right.
What made you think that was okay to say? Even though I just finished saying, you BI, what made you think that was okay to say? So I'm asking these
Right.
questions as I'm engaging in the behavior. And I either see it as fair game because you did it. And then that goes back to the original question of, if Johnny jumps off a bridge, do you jump off a bridge? So I think if you mix all those together, I don't know if there's any one answer, and then you
Right.
combine, so you combine these things of arrogance, stupidity, not smart. I know I have answers. I'm aware. I'm blah blah blah. You take all that, and then you also add in my being dishonest with myself, my self hatred, my anger, my issue. Maybe it's not that. Maybe it's not that aggressive. Like it's not a my hatred. Maybe it's just that's one of my sensitivities,
Right. Right.
right? But that
Yeah.
still goes
Yeah.
back down. But that still boils back to, have I been dealing with those sensitivities? And then I think there's also some unfair expectation pending the relation, the connection in the relationship,
Mhm.
the N word. So if you and
Mm.
I were like hanging out, like we're co-anchors and all this, and we do like 3 times a week on the show.
Co-anchor.
So
Yeah.
we're actually spending time together. Like we
Yeah.
go get a bagel together. We're taking notes. But every time I'm with the boys or the fellas, you hear me talking using the N word. Now we already know the argument. I should be able to say it, and you can't. That's what's said.
Right.
We feel so comfortable, especially when we're talking about tough issues. Man, Friday, we're talking about, where do you sit with that? Coach and da da. Well, doc and da da. And we're having sensitive conversations and saying things to each other, not like, deep, deep secrets, but I'll be honest, this story, when we talk about this story, it's going to be near and dear to my heart. So we've been vulnerable with each other.
Right. Right.
So because of that vulnerability, even with the bear, I believe if
Right.
I play to the bear's vulnerabilities, it's okay, bear, it's okay. If I
Mhm.
play to the
Mhm.
vulnerabilities, I have the upper hand. So we have been vulnerable with each other. And when you play off of, now play is a strong word because you're not playing, but when
Right.
you lean into that vulnerability, that expression, when you use that N word, when you use
Mhm.
the freedom, when you believe, you have the confidence, you thought, when you receive what was called a permission giver, when you believe that it was okay to do it,
Mhm.
boom. So if you take that into consideration, my response to that, I never said it was okay. Well, that's a power control that's a power thing for me. I never said it was okay. Freedom
Mm.
of speech for all people. Since when do I get to determine what you get to say? When do I get to determine anything about you, Coach K? Your gender, your
Right.
character, your anything. When do I get to speak to you about you? I mean, I can speak about,
Right.
but as far as me directing, so now you believe you have permission because we've exchanged vulnerabilities. You believe you have permission because the way we roll like that, like we say things like,
Yeah.
and you feel safe
Mm.
in the relationship. Like, so even male, female, and people are like, oh, does your husband, is he, oh, man, please, Dr. Nakami, man, my husband, so there's safety there. And the things that
Right.
I would be concerned about, like, could we study to 9 at night? Could we study to 10? No, you don't do, but we've been so professional that the belief system starts to increase in what I can say and can do and can't say and can't do. And then if you
Right.
cross a boundary, and it's a silent boundary, so we haven't even talked about it. So
Right.
then I start asking you questions like, where did you think that was okay? When and how did you think that was okay? But like, okay, just an example. Last week I called you a blimp, and I know you have like weight issues. So blimp seemed more sensitive to you because of the way I've expressed it. You've
Mm.
witnessed me really get emotional and just sensitive about blimp and my weight. and you witnessed, like if I had on a button-up shirt and the buttons were just kind of holding on, hang on, buddy, hang on, and you witnessed me, you witnessed that. But when
Right.
but when you hear me talking to the guys and I'm like, what's up? And I'm using the N-word, and you don't hear the same struggle with the use of the N-word as you hear with the struggle with the buttons. Now, before we go any further, because there'll always be someone to say, I don't give a damn if he had struggled with it or not. You knew the entire world knows you don't use the N-word.
Mhm.
Do they really?
Oh,
When
as
you
a
have a
fact,
halftime
no.
when you have a halftime show at a boxing match where there's 90 all the bridge in the song, the part where they the bridges where the bridge in the song is the N word this and the N word that and the N word this. The entire world knows that is wrong. When you have people on the east side of the world talking about what's up, ma, in their
Mm,
videos and songs, the little young Thundercats, that people have a totally different persuasion and
right,
different culture across the world. Or we change
right.
the E and the R, we put an A. Okay, all of as you coach, all you know is you haven't heard me express the struggle with that more than you heard the struggle about these buttons. So I think you take it like you feel this liberty, like you will, it's because I will, arrogance, confidence, safety, and that goes against me and my vulnerability. Like I let you say things to me because I trust you. I trust you would never go too far. I trust that the
Mm,
things you know about me, you know the limits. So I feel like you
right,
violated me. And because of the level of relationship, because of like the fact that we had the trust, I'm not coming at you sexually, I'm not doing different things. So because of the level
right.
of trust, I equally trust that you wouldn't violate
Would
me
mhm,
by doing that work. So now I feel it's either intentional, because you can't be
mm,
that goddamn stupid. You
right,
just can't be that damn stupid. And now I'm personalizing it, right? Because what it could have just been a conversation. Whoa, for real, coach? Oh, I thought you ain't thought. No, come on now, for real. Oh my, hey, trust me, I'll never say it again.
right.
But wait a second. That one time that person called me the N word. That one time I remember seeing my dad, my mom, my auntie, my cousin, my boom, 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 boom. And Coach K, you
Right.
get the thunder from all of my projections and history and
Mhm,
experiences. Because mano on mano, would that have done it to me like that? If you just the word and the meaning, yes, blah blah blah. But if you
right.
minus a lot of the experiences or stories, if you minus that, the level of intensity in my response is different. I've heard people say, we just talked about this like a month ago. You didn't act like that. Well, yeah, yeah.
Right.
Is is it because you're in front of these people? I mean, what happened? We just had this. We just talked about like you're tripping.
Right.
All right, that was long and lengthy. Did it make sense? What do people think? Let's see. Are there any comments or what do you think, Coach K?
I mean, I think it's very real, and it's so interesting that all of that does happen, like, in our minds, or we factor in all of those things in interactions without even realizing it,
Hmm.
but those things are there, and if you don't, establish awareness and really create awareness, ultimately, you're not gonna know, and your power is left to your reactions and what you're used to, it's just I don't know, it's interesting, but it makes sense.
It makes
So
sense, but if you're well, not you, but if I'm aware of it, it might make
mhm,
sense. Hey, let me bring it. Let me make it more personal. You and I.
okay.
You cool with that? I
Yeah,
mean, the example I gave, where I was saying we're anchors and all that, I was making up a story.
yeah,
There are times when I'm watching some of the other shows and I'm like, some networks, the foolery and the chaos, and like, oh my gosh,
mhm,
I can never be on that network.
mhm,
There are times I've heard you express, ooh, sometimes, one of the things we value is that we
mhm,
we won't just be here just for the chaos. Will there ever
Mhm.
be a chaotic moment or issue or topic? Sure. But we're not here to
Right.
create the chaos. And
Right.
then all of a sudden, one time I'm on the show. And all right.
Oh.
Yeah. Oh, right. So I'm doing my
Uh,
theatrics.
right.
And I remember one week I said, oh, I'm going to go through my theatrics. I was giving my disclaimer. And you're like, oh, yeah, buckle up. And let's say I heard your word. Let's say I heard that as,
I did.
yeah. But let's say I received that as, because buckle up is different than get out.
Mm.
Buckle up is different than, all right, man, well, do your thing. I'm gonna close my camera for a minute while you.
Mm.
Buckle up means I'm gonna stay, I'm gonna secure myself and endure the ride.
Mhm. Mhm.
So there's a potential for me to
Mhm.
perceive that as a permission giver, like, all right, hold on, Coach, I'm about to get into my theatrics. Oh, here we go. We're gonna buckle up, everyone. You're right, tell them, and boom. And then afterwards, the resentment that's sitting in for you, like, wow, all right. So unannounced, you just kept it to yourself, unannounced.
Mhm.
Then one day, um, you and I are talking, and I say something to you back, like, well, no, let's just go with. And did she just roll her eyes at me, like? And I swear, through my side, I caught you like, oh.
Right. Right.
And then but so now here's the thing. In If you take away the resentments from the, oh boy, here he goes. If you take that away,
Mhm.
would you necessarily be at the level so when I say, hey, let's do so and so and so and so, and you felt dismissed or
Mhm.
unheard or like, okay, but that part there, where did that come from? I say that's on top of something. That's on top of some energy. That's on top of some unspoken something.
Mhm.
So
Yep.
then if I see that eye roll, some
Mhm.
people start right there, right there. Like, what the F you rolling your eyes for? Oh,
Right.
maybe not right on the show, but I mean, I've
Right.
seen shows that they do right on the show. But at some point, our conversation is like, yeah, you rolling your eyes and stuff and blah, blah, blah. What the hell? I didn't roll my, and and for a moment, it is clueless because like I roll my, but that was a body, like a physical,
Right.
physiological response to something. Oh,
Right.
so it was a thought and the reaction of, but when I think about it, like, did I roll my eye? Oh, it must have been unintentional. Now I feel like you're insulting my intelligence. So you didn't, so you didn't, I was watching Scam Likely yesterday.
Yeah.
He went on a Sir Hale show.
Mm.
And the person he was talking to, he was making a point of reference. And they said, no, I didn't say that. And I didn't say that. And Scam does his, I don't know if you ever seen him. What I don't know
I
is so
know.
yeah. So
I
that
know.
the person was saying, I didn't say that. Now his response, because he knew it. I mean, he was correct. Almost like when you say, well, let me rewind. That's how sure he was. He said,
Right.
but his response, comical and are you sure?
Right. 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 Like you want to go there?
Now, let's say the person he was talking to realized then or later. And the real point to our show tonight is when they are now commenting on the story and they say something like this. So and so and so and so, and they knew that person said it. I mean, what did they think they were dumb? I mean, what them silly people are silly. They don't even think. Now, what I'm really speaking to, well, I wouldn't say really, because I don't want to make it a hard. I don't want to make it a hard fact. I believe in this scenario, the reason they're able to speak to it so easily, so freely, so confidently, and so disgusting. Is disgustingly a word? So
Probably.
disgustingly, yeah, with such disgust
Right. Yeah. That. Yeah.
and
That word.
irritation. The reason they're able to speak to it with such irritation is because it's within them. So using this analogy or this story, and it could have been months ago from the look. So
Mm-hmm.
Scam only did this, but let's say he did that to me. He made my, and I'm like, I didn't say that. And Scam is like, and I'm like, I didn't say
Mm-hmm.
that. You can make all your eyes big if you want. Now here's the other issue. If Scam and I had that conversation privately,
Mm,
but we're on the World Wide Web.
right.
And so if Scam is correct, not only is he correct, but this stuff here,
Right.
and then if I'm still misquoting, I didn't, or defending, or justifying, or no, even if I no, you whoa, hold on, dude, don't just don't put words in my mouth and don't all the don'ts and stop in the blocks. And then if I find out later that Scam was correctly, do I have the integrity to come back and say, hey, I was wrong that time? And maybe not even speak to Scam, but on one of the shows, like, hey, a couple weeks ago I was on so and so talking to Scam, and I was way wrong. So again,
Right.
back to being honest with themselves. And I know at least we gave a shout out to Sean Bold when he's here. Um, I've heard him talk about that honesty,
Mm-hmm.
and I've had some conversations with him where I'm like, well, wouldn't it be? Wouldn't it be? And then he said, but even that, let's go with that.
Mm-hmm.
But even that would take a level of true honesty. And I was like, oh, yeah, that's true. So my conversation with you now, I believe if I haven't done that deep dive to recognize, or if I have, but I feel helpless,
Mm-hmm.
hopeless, defeated, because some things we don't have the power to change it. Like some things we
Mm-hmm.
just can't change.
Mm-hmm.
And if it's in me, I might find myself attacking, addressing aggressively, sarcastically, abusively, unnecessarily so,
Right.
because of what's going on with me.
Right.
That's my answer to your question. What are your thoughts on that?
I mean, of course, it makes sense to me. I I just know this is true for me. I mean, there's still, of course, things that I need to create awareness around, but or that I need to, be curious about if there's something that I react to. But um, eh, it's
How can I speak to it though? If it's a sensitive spot for you, how can I? If we built the level of safety, but if it's a sensitive area for you, how do I talk about that? What do you suggest?
how do you talk about mine or
So
like your
you, but
own?
how? So if you were to advise me, and so I'm going to you, coach, saying, Coach, how?
Okay.
I have some friends, or I have some associates, I have some people who I think they just stink, and I want to tell them about that. I want to tell them their attitude is piss poor. It's going to turn into a whole big fight. They're not going to they're going to block and deny and become defensive. I don't want to get all caught up in the drama because I'll go around just throat chopping. So, what do you suggest as far as like how do I talk to people about their sensitivities? Do I even talk to people?
Well, it depends. Like, what's your goal with it? Are you
Hmm.
like what kind of place are you coming from? Because sometimes, people will want some advice or they'll just be or venting and they'll be talking about people being toxic. But if I'm coaching them, I'm like, all right, let's get the
Hmm.
facts of the situation. Tell
Mm.
me what they specifically said. I'll give you an example. I had a client. Um, she said that let's say they're just in talking to a friend and the friend is like, you didn't know that, like something, I don't know, let's say Johnny Depp isn't going to be in Pirates of the Caribbean, I don't know, and
Hmm.
she didn't know that. So he says, you didn't know that? And her thought or her reaction is he's thinking that he thinks I'm stupid. So I'm going to get defensive. I'm going to take it personally.
Mm-hmm.
But when we looked at it closer, all he said was, "You didn't know that. You didn't know that?" Or, I'll repeat it the way he said it, sure.
Mm-hmm.
You didn't know that? What part of that says that you are stupid?
Mm-hmm.
Now, what's interesting is when we were, looking at it, and this is just the situation for her,
Mm-hmm.
she felt stupid because she thought that she should know that, and she didn't.
Mm-hmm.
So then when she's feeling that way,
Mm-hmm.
she wants to protect herself. That's our human reaction. Like, we want to protect ourselves and our emotions. So then she's going to get defensive.
Mm-hmm.
She's going to push back, or she's going to try to explain herself for why she doesn't know that, to explain why she's not stupid. But what, we realized together is
Mm-hmm.
he didn't say you're stupid. You're not stupid.
Right.
And then of course we worked on like her belief about that. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So it's
Mm-hmm.
like, when people say things or do things, let's get the facts of the situation, because it's gonna mitigate a lot of drama and ultimately like our feelings. I mean, this might sound silly, but our feelings being hurt. Really.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
What do you think?
Yeah. I, and I talk in extremes. I mean, there's always less than what I'm about to say. There's always less than. But I believe there's a good percentage of people who, if we talk facts, it actually steals the thunder. It steals the fire. Like, it takes the air out of my argument. Because where's my payback? Like, what you said makes sense. And I know I'm like, I'm not, they probably weren't calling me stupid, but I mean, heck, I know that I should have known that. But so then you really didn't need to yell at them. Now, see, but the moment we discover that, I I now have to deal with that truth. And I'm really, am I ready for that level of truth? But either way, so remember previously when I talk about, well, each one of these statements is still an
Hmm.
internal. And so
Right.
the moment that so I'm already complaining about the guy and what he said and how it hurt me.
Right.
And then now we're having some truth discovery. And when we discover he's probably not said anything more hurtful than
Hmm.
I've actually said about myself.
Right.
And he never said the word stupid, but I molded his words and situation. Then there's the other. Well, then, but see, then it goes
We
along with,
Yeah,
yeah,
we hurt
it
ourselves
qualifies
with
what you
that
just said.
realization.
Yes, it qualifies what you just said. Or in your scenario, if that client said, I should have known better. And
Right.
so here's another time where I'm saying that, well, yeah, I did that, so I should have known better. So it's awesome, and I'm taking accountability and
Mhm.
responsibility. But if some people are not ready for that, and like if they don't, it
Mhm.
doesn't sit well with them. That may be a truth. They take it as a hurtful truth. So that
Well,
question, well, who says it does? Who says it has to hurt? There
right.
are realities and things that
Right.
we just can't do anything about, and then there's a falsehood. And
Right.
how much are we entertaining either one of them? And how much can we do about this one versus how much can we do about that one? And that's the part that I think people miss. And I think it's disingenuous when they're going off on someone about their stuff when it's like, well, they should be more honest with them. Uh-huh. And they shouldn't be carrying on and that's some bull in the way. Uh-huh. I mean, just listen to them. Uh-huh. And then even that, I think even in my role where you the professionals, you never want to start getting so where you're high and mighty too in these conversations, and then go home or to a safe space to complain
Right.
about the negative things going on with your clients, only to find out, well, I already knew it, but I don't speak to it. I don't get help for it. So I'm complaining about the people who went to go get help for
Right, right,
it
right.
for
What is
something
it
that I
for?
haven't gotten help on. But
Right.
then I'm adding these judgmental statements, right? So they're they're the devil and they're garbage and they're dumb and they're stupid, and then even have the nerve to say they chose it. They chose it. That lady with the brick,
Mm,
she knew what she was doing. She earned it. She was an idiot. Now all that might be accurate, but then when I'm doing some of those same behaviors that I'm able to spot out and call her stupid, ignorant, foolish, and person chose that abuse. How do we choose this abuse? What person chooses? Now, there's an argument for some people who invite. They do invite some of this because it feels good. It feels a certain way. They do invite some of this, but as far as wanting to be abused, unless we're talking about carrying on childhood trauma and we want to kind of we that feels like home, so it's very
mhm,
inviting to be in abusive situations. But I think I just find it ironic for those who are blasting others for things that are not that person's fault. And we are so stuck as a society with these beliefs. I mean, we're so stuck on our beliefs, and I can be that way too.
mhm.
So I don't want to be guilty of the very thing we're talking about. But when we're
Right,
so
right.
stuck on these beliefs, but we don't have the evidence for it, we don't have the evidence to the things that we're speaking to, other than a few experiences that we didn't like, and now I'm blasting the person because they fit that role. I don't like police officers because they're authority figures. I don't like school principals because they are authority figures. I don't like judges. They seem like there's no limit to judges. So what do all three have in common? They are authority figures. And when I'm blasting them, the judge thinks he's and the judge, and one day someone's gonna go into court and take him out, and the police officer they're gonna get him. But that argument is most likely tied into a time where I felt that I didn't have authority, a
Mhm.
time where I felt unheard, dismissed, belittled, or shrunk less than this authority figure. And it can go all the way back to childhood or some more recent events that I didn't
Mhm.
vent, I didn't get help for, I didn't talk about it. Just is the past. Just forget about it. It's just the past. Let it go. It's nothing I can do, but just the past. Let it go. I think after a
Mhm.
while, that stuff builds up. And so now when I'm verbally bashing these authority figures, which in one way or another, sure, they may have earned this negative talk. But
Mhm.
when I'm adding the complaining that's really rooted to my stuff, that's where I say I think people should consider what you are complaining about, how much of that is about you.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Because what does the complaining and the judgment do ultimately for people? What is our, again, even with going to go hit someone or whatever, what what are we getting from it? That's something I would
Yeah.
ask a client. It might seem like it might seem justified, it might seem like the right thing to do,
Mm-hmm.
but what are the outcomes? What are the, you know, how is that serving us ultimately? Sure, someone
Mm-hmm.
could say you should hit him back or you should hit her back. But does it serve you at the end of the day? Like, is
Oh
it
well,
worth it?
that's a trick question. I mean, that's not a trick question, but I will argue that it does serve a good number of people because then I feel heard. I mean,
At what
I feel
expense?
see, yeah, see, that's the acknowledgement piece. Do you recognize that I'm getting my need met at the expense of someone else?
Right.
Now, let's say on YouTube, a lot of these things are enter- for entertainment purposes. So
Mhm.
let's say there's Saturday Night Live reporting, and
Yeah.
then there's like WCCO or NBC or Fox, whatever. Then there's that type of reporting.
Right.
If you take the Saturday Night Live news report filled with humor, slander, jokes, talking crazy, embarrassment, take it with a grain of salt, is intended to be entertaining.
Mm-hmm.
But when people cross that line of what should be entertaining to blasting and making statements as if they're truths, as if it's the only answer, and then projecting it out into the world. Well, all I do is report it. It's up to the people to do it. All I do is state it. It's up to the people. All I see and what's told to me. And I think there should be, I think there's an amount of responsibility and accountability when we're speaking to these things for entertainment purposes, and or for just me wanting to share
Mm-hmm.
at the expense. I think people should take those things into accountability.
I agree because even if you're speaking to something, but let's say you're using the evidence that you have, which is always interesting too. That's another thing. Our our minds, for better for worse, it likes evidence. It likes, patterns, things like that. So it's quick, it can access it quickly. It's important. But if
Mm-hmm,
it's evidence again that, we might have more evidence to the contrary, but it doesn't really
mm-hmm,
fit our beliefs, well, then it's not gonna be at the forefront. So, you know, when you think something so often, you will see it, you will find evidence for it, but that
mm-hmm,
doesn't mean you have the whole picture.
mm-hmm,
So we could say, like, we could see, it's like I'm already like censoring myself. We could talk about how men treat women, how women treat men. We could
mm-hmm,
do either one. And if I'm speaking on something that I always see, I even have to check myself. Like, let's say I see women all the time talk about how they want men this and that, and kind of like you could say the women on like Kevin Samuels or something.
mm-hmm,
They want the six figures and they're whatever. But is that true though? Okay, I've seen it.
mm-hmm,
But am I also, leaving room for, is that because I believe it and I agree with it? So I'm only like, I see that, oh, agrees with me, tuck it away. But I'm dismissing all the other instances where it's not, where I don't see that.
mm-hmm,
You know what I mean?
mm-hmm, mm-hmm. I mean, is it advantageous for me to see those things? You know, what benefit is there? I know the benefit in the things that I see.
Hmm.
Overall, is there benefit in the other stuff? Probably in my mind is not, so I don't speak to it. I don't
Hmm.
address it. I ignore
Right.
it. Um, and again, I think that's another way of being dishonest with myself, but also being disingenuous to others, hurtful to others. People come back around sometimes and say, okay, well, I mean, oh yeah, I could have said that. I mean, well, that's, yeah, that part is true too. Oh yeah, yeah. Well, why didn't you say something? So then they put it on you to have been responsible to correct them or to hold them accountable, or if you didn't do that, then I also wonder why people then charge you with being the idiot. Well, you're the one taking it all personal. Well, I mean, why are you taking it so personal? That's a big argument right now. I've listened to people flip an argument by asking, well, why does it bother you so much? That bathroom conversation about changing out the stalls. It's like, well, so they made them in a couple of schools in the Midwest. They changed out all the. From what I hear, they changed to more unisex bathrooms.
Mm-hmm.
So people who've been going to a male restroom or a female restroom, when they give voice to it, those who are all for the unisex bathrooms, when if they speak to it by asking, why are you so concerned?
Mm-hmm.
So when I go to respond to that, it's a little bit about what you were just saying. When I go to respond to that, one, do I really have all my thoughts in a row? Do I have all my kind of data, evidence? What do I have to support it? Because if it's an emotion, then it's really an emotion versus an emotion.
Mhm.
I feel and you feel.
Mhm.
So we're really battling emotions. What now? Okay, so I have a right to my thoughts, and you have a right to your thoughts. I have a
Right.
right to my feelings. You have a right to
Right.
your feelings. So it's like, well, who really wins? So then
Wins. Yeah.
right, win, and who has to win? Now, I believe when it's impacting, though, right? Because now we're talking
Right.
about the impact. So
Right.
it's gone beyond me. See, I think that's part of the answer. Part of the
Mhm.
answer is there's evidence to this thing that I'm projecting and really giving the business about because the impact to the greater world, the impact to the
Mhm.
greater community, the impact to my family, the impact to different things, that's what I really want to address.
Mhm.
That's what I should be addressing. So
Right.
if I don't like that a person has on red, and every time they're on that show, they look like a damn fool wearing that red, but really because when I wear red, I look like a big balloon. And so since I can't wear red, if in my mind, I'm just not comfortable with wearing red, and I wish red looked better on me. And then when I see someone else wearing red where it really doesn't look the best, and that is lay into that, oh, look at them. And it comes with the judgment of how they really look. And it comes with the internal stuff I'm dealing with. And I mix it together. It's just a big ball of bleh. And that's when I say, well, let's slice and dice that. How much of that is really
Right.
about that person? Now
Right.
we might not look good in red. Woo! I know I don't look. In my opinion, I feel about red. I don't think that person. So that's more of a shared.
Right.
And I'm asking you this, Coach. Why do you think people think it's okay not only to speak on something? And hey, Paul Bennett's in the house. What's up? Shout out to you. I saw Scam was here.
Hey
Alexis from
guys.
Texas is here. What's up? What's up? What's
Hello.
up?
Hello.
I see Beautiful Anime is quite engaged with them, so thank you so much for the engagement. Paul, who else? Did we see anyone else? CBN is in the
Uh,
house, so of course.
podcast. Little podcast.
Oh,
Hello.
little podcast. I did not see him. Little podcast is here. No pun intended. Little podcast didn't see him. Ha ha. So I didn't see.
Mm,
So welcome,
sorry.
welcome, welcome. Yes. All right. So, Coach, my question is,
Mhm.
um, Why do you think people find comfort? I mean, and what I mean by comfort, I'm gonna give an example of when they say these things that sound judgmental and complaining, but because it's a legitimate concern, is a legitimate complaint, and there is some negativity, like all across the board is legit. Why do you think people find comfort in the deviant part about it? And deviant as in like the tear down part, the hurtful part. And now if you ask them, are they being hurtful? They may not think that way, and some people do know that they're being that way, and they still find it to be okay. Oh well, I'm just speaking the truth. I'm saying it the way I want to say it. Why
Right.
do you think people find comfort in that?
I think part of it is because it's a type of perceived like elevation for us. So, like if even though this is I'm laughing because it's like if this is a bad situation. How could I feel good talking about it? But I would say it's the same as even talking about other people who are, let's say, poorer or not as attractive, or I don't know, whatever we think, we feel better about ourselves because we don't look like that. Or that situation, sometimes too, I think people they might feel better because they're speaking to it, so maybe doing something about it, um, like something's being done, but yeah, I mean, so I think there's, like, 2 different things there,
Hmm.
but especially with the problem, I think it's they think they're helping in some way or they're, um all another one too is sometimes they think that, like, talking about how negative it is or because let's say a situation's bad, like, we all can agree it's bad,
Hmm.
but I'm just really ripping on this situation. It's almost like I'm trying to add more validity to it by using
Hmm.
big words or you know what I mean? So it
Yes.
appears to me to be more valid.
Yes. I
So yeah.
agree. And if we moved away from a scam, we'll say kind of the doom and gloom version of it. So like, oh man, people are aggressive and they're hurtful. We moved away from the doom and gloom.
Right.
If I added on to what you just said, not only is it more valid, I'm not the only idiot.
Mm,
Like this is a shared pain. I mean, this is a, and no one wants to have a shared pain, but
right. Common.
but
Yeah.
look, oh my, look, I mean, that person is just dumb. You know why they do that? Because they're not smart. They didn't get educated. They didn't get da da da. But and not that anyone's gonna. I don't imagine people would then say, "Well, just like me." I don't. I don't think
Right,
they.
right.
I don't think they do it that way. But see, you fool. Like, hmm. So I'm adding to the validation. Like this is real. This issue
Mhm.
is real. I'm not the only one.
Mhm.
And hell, I can't figure it out. You can't figure it out. You're just dumb as the next person.
Right.
But I don't. You know, I may not include myself that directly. But I think out of a non doom and gloom, almost a celebratory, like a proud, yeah, kind of a proud space of, see, that's what they get. They should have listened. They shoulda. And the
Right.
same way I struggled and had consequences, hmm, another person. So as weird as that sounds, I think
That's exactly
some
it
people,
though.
yeah,
'Cause it
hmm,
does feel like, "Hmm," like, "Oh,
right,
like, almost like I'm imagining, like, 2 people, like, let's say who are having the conversation, looking down on a town that's in flames. Like,
hmm,
you're down there, we're up here. Hmm."
right,
You know? And
right,
it's like but if we like, if that's I'm visualizing that, but if we take wait, come back to us. We're having this conversation about this, and then I would, wanna ask some questions like I don't know what they're thinking in the moment, but okay, so what are we what's constructive here right now? Which
hmm,
which there
hmm,
doesn't have to be technically. I'm not
right,
saying you have to. But do
hmm,
you realize what you're doing and how if this is where you're getting some type of satisfaction or validation, you are going to have to continue these conversations or talking down or whatever it is to
yep,
get that validation and that
yep,
feel good.
yep. Now, here's what I'm thinking, Coach, and tell me what you think of this. I actually want to give some clinical perspectives on why that happens. So our
Do it.
time, our conversation about why.
Do it.
I want us to be able to offer then some solutions. So between the two of us, if I give a clinical perspective on saying, well, here's some here are some root reasons why it happens, and then let's offer people who are listening some solutions or some suggestions. Um, so and my input about some of the root causes from a clinical perspective is not to justify, is not to yeah, it's not to justify, it's just for understanding. So it's when for those listening, my clinical perspective is not for justification, it's only for understanding, like, Here's one potential reason why it's happening. Not an excuse, not to excuse the behavior. And then we'll get into some tips and tricks on how to start the process of changing this and what the benefits are of changing it. So you cool with that, Coach? And then also want to see if someone wanted to come up, we can actually uh, drop the link,
Yeah,
because
yeah.
then part of this explaining the clinical perspective would then actually we'll bring in some, like, I want to use a live example here. So CBN or BMU, if you want to drop the link, if one or two people want to come up, and what I like to do is process with you this idea of where it comes from a clinical perspective. And if not, Coach, we could still do it.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
but I want opportunity for people to kind of, to weigh in, like, oh, that makes sense. It doesn't make sense. And then the goal is, ladies and gentlemen, it wouldn't be like to really prove if it's right or wrong. It's then, what do we do with it? What do we do with it? What the perspective might be real or it might not be real. The clinical piece might be real, it might not be real, but the end result is we still have this problem of a complaining, a behavior of complaining, whining, mixed with judging, shaming, bashing, and a big percentage of that thing we're addressing is related to us. All right. So we'll see if we have one or two people to come up. Do, 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 do. We have Sherelle in the house. Thank you, Sherelle, for stopping through. Lady
Hey,
Navoa is
Sherelle.
here working her magic. What's up, Lady Navoa? Beautiful Anna Maidens in the house. Paul Bennett. I know I said a few of these names. Oh, okay, Beans,
Yeah.
aka Little Podcast. Nice. I'm gonna be changing my name one more time. I had a couple
You
of
are?
marketing. Here YouTube. I had a couple of marketing meetings, and Nakumbi, like beans. I mean, how is easy,
Yeah.
uh, memorable. So I'm thinking for going like Nakumbas or Nakumbo.
Wait,
Sorry,
are you
but I
serious?
didn't I didn't even get a chance because your lips were like. I
I mean,
didn't
that
even
is
get
funny
I
as
didn't
fuck,
even
so
get
I'm
a
like,
chance
I
to
hope I'm
be.
saying the company right, like,
Yeah.
yeah,
No, not, I mean, not my name, but um so Dr. Nakumbi, like
yeah.
Nakumbi alone in the Aggie rhythms and all that, there's only
Mhm.
but so many Nakumbis. So when that name keeps going, a lot of the traffic will direct to
Yeah.
Nakumbi. Cool, got that.
Which is good, yeah.
Right, right.
That's good.
But when you start comparing, like, what pulls people in. So if you're CBN and you're all for Africa, you hear that Nakumbi, you might just jump all over that. Nakumbi, my people.
Mhm.
For what we're doing, how much of that would just scream mental health support? How much of that would
Oh,
scream insights and perspectives? How much of it would scream, like, uh, the type of things that I'm told? So then, part of my marketing thing is they did this whole, it was pretty cool. Like, you take all the compliments I've ever received, and they compile them and look at kind of what's the most so profound, insightful. Oh my gosh, you helped me realize. You helped me realize.
mm,
And my favorite one is, I made it make sense.
mm.
So that's kind of my tagline. Like, I make it make sense.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So here's the thing: what in the world, in the word name Doctor Nakumbi, sounds like any of those things I just said? I
Oh,
mean, uh, I mean, uh,
I know what you mean. Like,
media wise. If you say, "Oh, Dr. Nakumbi is a strong African American," da da da, he can help you and help you. Yes, that makes sense. But as far as someone doing a YouTube search or Google search, they want to hear something. What's the likelihood they'll say, "I want to hear Nakambo Nakumbis" versus um, I want someone to help me
Make
with
it make
some.
sense.
Yeah. Even coach.
Yeah.
Even that. I'm looking for someone to coach me. I'm looking for a coach. I'm looking for. I mean, your name automatically plugs right in. And then I
Yeah.
don't know if you know, because of my previous to my degree, I was actually, because I've been certified as a coach since 2008. So I used
Mm,
to use that also. So my books actually have coach on them,
I think I
and it
saw.
was like a kind of an automatic kind of a name marketing. I mean, it just served all kinds of dual purposes. But the point
Yeah.
is, Beans little podcast made me think like, oh yeah. I got to work on like doctor insights. And to me, those things sound goofy, but they, yeah.
That
So I'm
that
working
is
on
no,
that.
that is interesting though, because that
Yeah.
is a great point to
Hmm.
gosh, that makes me wanna
Yeah.
go, like, down like, just tailspin into, like, "Oh, what do I pick?" Like, because I can't
Yeah.
do Coach K because Coach K is trademarked, like, I don't know
Yes,
why.
I've
Ugh.
been adding R sometimes here as Coach
Yeah,
K
because my
R.
business is Coach is, well, it's it was, KR it's KR Coaching is my
Yeah.
LLC, but when I was when I was getting my domain and I did
Yeah.
KR Coach, people said it looked like crotch, so I'm like,
Yeah.
"Crap." So
Oh
then I had to do Coach
yeah.
KR, so I had to do Coach
Yeah.
KR, so yeah, it's gosh,
Right.
I don't
So yeah,
enjoy
it's
this side of this, of
right.
branding and stuff, but whatever, I'll get over it.
Now, even for our show, because I was talking to BMU, like, hey, what? We have people who are very interested in the topics. We have people
Mm,
who are very interested in learning for themselves and trying and wanting to do
right,
better, or just even having information, like just good to know information.
right,
And then there are people who come for whatever level or value of entertainment that we offer.
right,
But I was talking like, man, how do we really put a stamp on this? How do we say BMU Network has
right.
these different slots and times, and our show, what we do, and boom, put like a stamp on it.
Hello.
So, what's up, beautiful animated? Welcome to the show.
Hey,
Welcome. How are you?
I'm pretty good. How y'all doing?
Good, good to
Fabulous.
see you.
Yeah. Look at you. All right.
How you
Now,
feeling?
yeah, I was
Pretty
about to ask
good.
the same question because I need to know: are you up for the challenge?
We'll see.
I want the pushback. Yeah. I want the pushback, but the goal is not for me to prove a point or to argue. What I really want to do is I want to have Coach K and our audience, between the both of us, I want them to capture, like, to see, like, oh wow, did you catch that? Did you hear that?
Mhm.
Hmm. So between our dialogue might become spicy, but that should be the meat and potatoes for what Coach K and everyone listening, should be the meat and potatoes for them, because then we want to then look at, all right, Coach, here's my true issue. What do we suggest to the world on how to work on this?
Yeah.
Mm,
All right. So I think if we sugarcoat it, I don't know how much you've been listening in the show, but Coach said earlier, she said, I would want to know, right? So there's that investigation piece. So I think if Coach K is gonna help us with this, I think the investigation piece, she needs to hear like authentic, what the authentic
the
pieces are
pot.
to the problem, right?
Mhm.
All
Yeah.
right. So you up for that? Where
Yeah.
we won't, I'm not gonna personalize what you say to me, hoping you wouldn't personalize within boundaries. I mean, I'm not just gonna be talking crazy, but I want us to be as natural. Are you up for that?
Why are you laughing?
I'm trying to. It's this is difficult because I'm like I don't know if I have. I'm from a clean space, like a clear, like because
Yeah,
I hold space for my clients, and I'm like, I,
yeah.
I
Well, I mean, I'm a whole space, but I just want
you know
everyone
what I mean?
listening, yeah,
No,
Yeah.
I'm
to
right.
hear the most authentic. So let's jump in, because I want
Yeah.
to make
I'm
sure we
ready. I'm
have
ready.
time. Um, but let's pick something from. I was gonna say someone from the audience, but I don't know how long we're gonna get something. Um, so let's create something. Bring, if you will, beautiful animated. You have a complaint, like let's say What's kind of a hot topic for you? What's a button pusher for you?
Women who put their hands on men and think
Mm-hmm.
it's okay
Mm-hmm.
to do that and not suffer the repercussions of their actions.
Okay. So you caught that, Coach K? So we're talking about one of Bass's sensitivity is related to a set of people, women who
Yeah.
believe that a behavior is okay. And not only to do it, you can tell me, you can correct me, not only to do it, but then expect,
To get away with
keyword,
it.
expect no consequences or to get
Right.
away with it.
And it's okay.
All
Yeah.
right.
Yeah. Yep.
So consequence free, even though I have this behavior. So we're going to jump right in. Well, first of all, Bass, I hear what you're saying. It's kind of known. It's not kind of. It's a known fact that women are emotional, and they're not going to always respond to things. And I want to highlight that. I want to highlight respond. It's not like they're going out and initiating things. So they're responding to things. And usually women, not only are they emotional, and I'm not speaking like a voice from a voice like I'm a woman, I'm gonna say what women do. And so I'm kind of just going off of historical guesses, historical facts that I've heard about, and then my opinion. So I'm gonna be honest, I'm mixing that in. So women are emotional. Women think more and they process more. So they're not just going out, yeehaw, and just being crazy and expecting no consequences. And then the third thing is by the time they are putting their hands on someone, that means someone wasn't listening to them. By the time a woman puts her hands on someone, she hasn't felt heard. She probably feels in danger, not always physical danger, but a sense of trapped, uh, loss of something, and boom, she snaps. And you're dang right. You better not put your hands on me. And for all the chances I've gave you, or not even chances, for all the stuff that I've endured, I've earned my right to hit you, and you better not put your hands on me. That's where I think women, not all, I think a number of them, that's where I think you find what you're talking about. They find it's okay.
Wait, are you being serious? Wait, are you just like playing? Is this your
I'm sorry,
actual like?
Bass, is that you have something playing in the background? I hear someone asking some questions. I don't know. No, I don't know if you have a speaker. What? Someone here? I thought I was talking to you, Bass, and then hold on for a second. Maybe it's my earpiece. Hold on. I want to make sure I heard Coach K asking questions if I'm being real or not. When I just said I'm gonna jump in, Coach K.
Okay, I'm
This,
thinking.
I'm Oscar worthy. I think I'm Oscar worthy.
But you are though. Okay, go ahead. Go
Yeah,
ahead.
yeah.
You lead me.
No, I'm the but yeah. So my pushback, just Coach, for real. My pushback, even though if it's wrong or right, I want to
Right.
have because I want to get to the point of where anyone can see that I'm complaining, as much
Right.
as Bass is complaining. Because so she
Mm.
gave her argument, and then and if you catch
Going.
it, so hint, when I'm like they haven't
Oh,
felt
sorry, I ruined
heard,
this.
right? So that's really no, not ruining. This is good because someone else might be in the audience wondering the same thing, like what
Yeah.
happened. So if you catch it though, hopefully someone in the audience or you, Coach, hopefully you caught it. One of the things I just did was I attempted to match a complaint with my complaint. Even though I didn't say the
Mhm.
words, I said, by the time a woman, she's probably, and then I mean,
Right.
like she's probably tired, right?
I
Right?
did catch that.
Yeah.
I was like,
So
wait, is this
yeah.
not
But
okay?
I moved, well, I was gonna say I moved from negativity to complaining. Like
Mm-hmm.
screw that. I'm complaining about this.
Right.
Versus if I had said, well, I hear what you say, Bass, and I wonder, some of the things that lead up to, I wonder if there've been some negative experiences. So that's speaking to the negativity. So anyway, that's all right. But so, Coach, I'm going back in.
I got.
I'm going back in. All right, Basta.
Okay.
That gave
Okay.
you some time to kind of think things over. That gave you some time. So I still need you to dig deep and be as authentic as possible.
Oh,
Yeah, I'm being authentic too. You know what
All
I
right.
do when I don't feel heard and I've been
Yeah.
dealing with the shit over and over and over again? I say peace and I
Right.
break up.
But see, but okay, so then you break up, so you run. So you're a runner.
I'm
So
not a
so it's
swinger.
okay for
I'm
you to
not gonna swing on somebody for not for
wow. Is that what
not
being
listening
is
to
that
me and
what
stuff.
being committed about is about swinging? Is that what friendship's about? Is about swinging? Is that what debate and healthy conversation about? Is
If you
about
push to
swinging?
that point, you need to break up. You are not a friend. You are not a girlfriend. You are not a boyfriend. If you're gonna put
Well,
hands on somebody,
well, what
deuces.
better person to put hands on? And I don't mean you specifically, but I'm talking about if my guy is all that, if this dude, my friend, my male friend, my man, my whatever, that's this male, who we've established that there's certain things I don't tolerate well, and yeah, maybe I shouldn't have hit him, but what the hell? So I can't express my true feelings or emotions to anybody?
You can't
Hmm.
express no bullshit. How about that?
But that's the problem. Because I can't express bullshit, I end up doing bullshit. So at what point is
That's
it
your
not?
personal problem. You
Well,
should
isn't
be
it just
single
your
and
personal
deal with
problem
it.
that oh I should stay single?
Yeah.
Mm,
Until you fix your problem, your personal problem. Nobody else's is your personal problem.
okay, let's pretend I live to 100. I think I'm gonna have problems almost every day. Should I stay single all 100 years? Because I'm always going to have a problem. That's what relationships are
Oh,
about.
that's messed up for you, huh? You better get some professional help.
I can get professional help and I can be in a relationship. Why would I rob myself of so many other positive things that come with the relationship because my ass is stuck up in there?
Because you feel it's okay to put hands on somebody.
I
Your
do
personal
sometimes.
problem.
First of all, that's how I was treated. If you must know, first of all, that's how I was treated. People put their hands on me, and now I don't stand for it no more, and I'm gonna put my hands on them back. And if you didn't put your hands on me before, okay, thank you. So you're probably gonna get hands on you first. And it's not intended for you, but I'm tired of the effery, and I'm no longer gonna sacrifice being the one to take it. I'm tired of being the one to take it. You got me. You know what? Better yet, I got one better for you. I got one better for you. Because you say there should be consequences. I'm assuming to include getting hit back at this point in my life. Well, let me ask her, is that what you're talking about? That is not always consequence free, that I might end up getting hit back? Is that what you're saying?
Mhm.
Okay. Who gives a bleep, bleep, bleep? I just told you I've been beat all my effing life.
That
Do you
wasn't
think
right.
one more hit? Do you think one more hit? You think one more person not listening to me and getting mad at me for something? You think one more hit is going to really do something to the point where I should, oh no, I can't express myself. I'm not talking about going around, and maybe I should have asked if you were talking about just going around hitting people. I agree. You just don't go around hitting people. But if I'm in
Hmm.
any type of connection with you and you piss me off, then you earned a hit, a beating. You earned it.
Well, after you get swung on, I'll be breaking up with you. We're no longer friends
Wow.
because I don't play that.
Wow.
And the thing is, you may have been beat in your childhood, right?
Mhm.
That wasn't right. Just like it's not right for you to do it now.
So you want to abandon the friendship.
I do
Hold
not
on,
stick
hold on.
around.
Someone just came into our therapy room. Hold on for a second. I don't know how that happened. Someone just came into our therapy room. Um, is there you guys have any locks on the doors or
Receptionist,
yeah,
you messed
just a
up.
second. Hold on, Simon. Hold on, because
Receptionist.
yeah, I want this to be
Oh
as pure
man.
and then we'll add you in. I just want this to be as pure and authentic. All right, cool. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah,
Um,
reception.
yeah, true.
That's good.
You're right. When you are going to leave after I take a swing and you feel violated, you feel something that you're going to leave. I say I'm hurt by that because people left me when I didn't. People jumped ship when I didn't put my hands on them, when I didn't speak my voice, and I got left anyway. And then I
Well,
learned to be assertive,
mhm.
fight for mine, and someone who you might not like it, but I thought we had the connection where I could be me. And it doesn't mean I get to hurt you. I agree. I agree. But I think if we get to that, whatever that conversation is, like right now, what you said, if we were like face to face, I could just see where I'm like, you're not listening to me, and I could see where maybe I would even, push your head or something, and I wouldn't expect for you to hit me because of that. I wouldn't expect it. Now, in case you're thinking I'm delusional, that's my reality. That I talk to you in a way and I express myself in a way that I find to be okay is not to hurt you. And I thought you would know better. I thought you would know better. And the fact that you would leave, I just want to say it hurts. And even before hitting you, just knowing you were bitch, that's too aggressive. Just knowing that you would abandon me. I wasn't gonna call you a B. I was gonna say just knowing that you would be out, you would bitch out. Um, I don't even see why we would even continue this friendship, this relationship. Like, why? Where's the benefit knowing that you were? My whole thing is I feel safe with you.
Well, in any relationship, whether it's friendship, um, a romantic relationship, around co-workers, everybody knows not to put their hands on me.
On you?
Right.
Oh, so did you threaten them? I mean, how does everyone know not to put their hands on you?
I have ways.
I'm listening. Hey,
You're right.
I'm listening,
Right.
bro. Yo, come on.
Yeah. Right. Oh, so all right. So
But
you. Uh-huh.
I'm not gonna put my hands on them, so
Ain't no one
they shouldn't put their
put that
hands on me, right?
ain't no one putting their
Right.
hands on you ever.
Hold
Right.
on.
Well, so
I'm listen.
I get it. You don't do it by
So
putting your hands on anyone, but how do you get hurt?
I speak.
Ah, beautiful animated speaks. Duh, yeah, yeah,
I will listen to you all day, all night, all week, all month, 2 years, whatever. You can say whatever. I'll listen, but you will not put your hands on me, ever.
yeah. Okay.
Have
Not
no
in
one put
Well,
violence.
hands on you
yep.
ever.
Not in
Hold on,
violence.
Simon. Hold on, Simon. So I'm gonna add one more slant to this beautiful animated because what I gave you was some of my pain, my experience. Okay, I've been hurt. Da da da. So,
Yeah.
Coach, be ready because when we compile this, there's some of it that belongs to me and there's some of it that doesn't. All right. So, okay, I hear you, beautiful animated, and I think that's the problem with us. It sounds funny when I say this is the problem with us. This is the problem with us women. You don't pay attention. You think they really are listening to you. They're not hearing shit you're saying. See, that's the problem my mama ran into. My mama Emma, I have an auntie who's close to my mama, and they both said some of those same weak ass I'm heard and people listen to me, and they're the same people that weren't trying to hear shit that they were talking about, and that's how they end up getting screwed over. And I learned from watching their dumbasses, and I refuse. At some point, I did allow, but now I refuse myself to be hurt. And the same way these people took privilege of hurting my mama, took privilege of hurting my auntie, I'm gonna take privilege of doing some damage too. And you best not do anything back to me.
Facts.
That's not gonna happen.
Right? All right. All right. So is that your only response? because you're making it about you, but yet you complain about the people who are letting people put their hands on you. I don't know if you
Yes,
have a
I
support. If
complain
you want to,
about.
I don't know if you want to get some support in here. Bring someone in with you.
I
All right,
got
go
it.
ahead. Go ahead.
I
That's the
got it.
thing. I mean,
You
like,
don't want to
Yeah.
get smacked up. Don't put your hands on nobody.
yeah, but why are
So,
women?
well, let's give us one more. Give us one more minute. Is 8:41? Give us just or my time. Give us like 8:43, Simon, please. All right. So I hear what you're saying, but beautiful animated. You're saying what people can and can't do. What gives you the authority to determine what I can and can't do? I mean, you didn't say I can't, but when you say it so matter of factly, like that's just something we have to deal with in life. I'm not letting someone. You have a way of not letting people hurt you, but you've been hurt, and I have a way of not letting people hurt me, but I've been hurt. And so now you made some standards, right? You set some rules. I said, how did they know? How did I have my ways? Well, you have your ways, and I have mine.
If you can't deal with something verbally, if you have those type of issues, you should not be dealing with that person. If it bothers you that much,
I hear you. You make it
like if
sound
you're
easy.
at
I
that
hear
level,
you.
that's a level that you worked up to, right? Like you've been dealing with this for years, most likely,
True, true. I have.
right?
Mm,
At some point, you see that it's not changing, and
Well, it's
if
not.
it
Well, it
bothers
has
you
changed.
that
I
much,
fight. I fight now. And then I don't want to make it sound like I'm also aggressive. I will put my hands on somebody. I don't have to be a big monster about it. I will put my hands on somebody.
okay, you will get the consequences, whatever they may be.
Right.
I hope you
But if I'm
stop.
not hitting you, you're still gonna be mad at me, even if I'm not hitting you, because you said you hate people who
I don't hate them. I just have no sympathy for them.
got it. Sympathy. Got it. No sympathy. And it's because I'm willing to bet you felt like there was no sympathy for you
For what?
for anything like you feel like if I hit you, I have no sympathy for you. Like I don't take into consideration your feelings and thoughts if I hit you, right?
I don't have sympathy for anyone who starts a physical altercation. It could be with your hand, your body, or you're throwing something physical.
Right. You don't
Spit,
feel it for them.
all that. If you started it, I don't have anything for you.
Well,
okay.
you can never work with some of the places I work. I work in a jail where they dig in their butt and just take a big clump of. I'm serious, and they'll thought you couldn't work where I. If you, I bet you put your. You should come where I work. Since you're so non-violent, let's see.
I've been there, remember?
Yeah,
I
yeah,
have worked there.
right, right. All right.
Mm.
Let me honor this time for Mr. Simon. Simon, what's up? Welcome to the site, to the channel. Welcome to the panel. What's going on? What do you want to bring to the conversation?
What are you talking about? So, judging and complaining about
Yeah. Oh,
others.
wait. You don't even know what we're talking about? You just popped up on the screen?
No, I was watching, but I'm trying to just get to the subject. Unless you deviated to something else, I don't know. Judging and
Mm-mm.
complaining about others. That's what I
Yeah.
call it.
Well, yeah,
And
but where it comes from. So, like, where does that complaint come from? Where
Mhm.
Coach K and I are saying there's a good number of people out there who the complaint outwardly, let's just pretend you and, because I see, looks like you have on a blue shirt, Simon, and it looks like
yeah,
Bass has on a blue shirt. And if I complain about it, what we're saying is probably because I'm thinking, damn, no one told me to wear a blue shirt. And then all of a sudden, instead of me saying, hey, you guys look nice and blue, instead of me complimenting or just
yeah,
speaking to it, I
Mhm.
complain and tear you down. Like, well, first of all, why did you wear
yeah.
a plaid shirt and why'd you wear just a non-collar shirt?
That's kind of interesting because, like, I don't really care. So there's a difference in that. It depends on how much someone cares about something.
Hmm.
Um, and many people have discrepancies about that. So, me personally, I've got a replica of my blue T-shirt
Yeah.
15 times around. and
Okay.
I just like my blue T-shirt. That's just me.
Yeah.
Like
No, I'm the
most
same
people,
way. I got a bunch of black
yo,
underwear.
you get what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So yeah, it's the same thing. I got my boxer shorts. Like I've got replicas. I just
Yeah.
keep it a stat like that because that's just what I like. I don't like too many colors. I don't like to have too many like hats and this that. Yeah, I'm just like that. Look at Mark
Yeah.
Zuckerberg. He had the same jeans, the same
Very
car.
minimalist, I guess, simple.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
All
It
right.
don't, it's not. I ain't proving shit to nobody. I don't care.
Right.
That
So let me
people
use that.
people will
I'm
see
sorry.
it eventually.
Let me use that for a second. Coach K, let's make note. If you remember when I said earlier,
Mm-hmm.
why do people care so much? So I think one of the things is the opposite. Simon is making a good point, which is me being abusive and then saying, Coach K, why are you so worried about it? Because Simon is not personalizing it. Simon doesn't give a
Mm-hmm.
fuck. So why are you making a big deal? And I take that as a permission to continue to itch and complain from stuff that's really about my being dishonest or not being fully honest with myself. And I'm using it as a permission giver when people like Simon say, dude, you can talk, you can say whatever the hell you want. I'm not gonna let that
Right.
break me at the end of the day. And I think that's so I'm proud. I'm happy that Simon said it, and then I continue to do what I do because there are the Simons in the world who wouldn't bother. So it doesn't matter if I project.
You
Right.
have a, you
People
have a
could
very
argue that.
you have a
Hmm.
very good way of explaining things, and I think that's what people are lacking, and what people have a have an urge for is the sort of being able to be tuned. I think like this is the new way of tuning in because I remember like when I was like 9 years old and I had my
Hmm.
first TV and we had to try to tune into the frequency of
Mm.
trying of the channel. Do you get what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So
Hmm.
I think that's all we're doing in simplistic ways. Do you get what I'm saying?
Mm.
Um,
Hmm.
so it's just a new thing. We got to move on. We got to really try to understand what we're dealing with, and
Right.
also appreciate ourselves. There's nothing wrong with that.
Right.
So when beautifully is speaking on her life and her world and all the rest of it, it's just like you just open yourself up and you know have the conversation because we are able to do that. We weren't
Hmm.
able to do that previously. You get what I mean? So
Mm. Freedom of
it's not,
expression.
you know, exactly. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you
Hmm.
very much, sir.
Yeah. No, that's good. That's good.
Yo, I'm gonna
But
put you on a
yeah.
pedestal, right? But
No,
I
no, no,
don't
no,
even.
no. It's not about that. But I mean, because it adds to our Coach K. I think it adds to our point or the question of why do people do it? Well, first of all, if it happens to be bashing down to someone, not my intention. But guess what? I can now. I can.
Mm-hmm.
I get to voice that. So Simon, I think that's credible. It adds to the argument of why people do that.
Right. And my thing is, I would ask someone, okay, of course you're free to do it. But if let's say, I don't know who we're using because we use different examples, but if
Yeah.
let's say it doesn't bother Simon that you don't like his blue shirt or blue shirts in general, but
Hmm.
does it serve you, Dr. Nakumbi, to this is kind of a very small example, but does it serve you to go out, to say, hey Simon, I don't like your blue shirt? Like, what is, we could like carry that out. Let's say, you're you're I don't know, you're taking a test and there's a time limit, but you see a blue shirt and you really start thinking about how you hate blue shirts, and then that, let's say, diverts your attention and you're in a bad mood. I don't know, something silly.
Right.
So does going out of your way to say that you don't like a blue shirt, is it, even though he doesn't care, is it
Hmm.
beneficial? Does it serve you? Is it useful?
Hmm. Simon, if you're talking to
You're
us, you're on
you're
mute. If you're
muted.
talking to us, you're on mute. And I want to capture what you're saying.
Sorry, what? Sorry, bro.
Hmm.
The psychology behind why I always put on a blue shirt was based on the fact that I always knew people were going to comment on it. I do things on purpose. So, we have many content creators
Ironic.
that yeah, exactly, because I know who I am. But the fact of the matter is we have many content creators out here, and they change their clothes a lot. They put on like baseball caps, this that, in order to like
Mix it up.
go, okay, I'm living this type of life. And it's like, yo,
Mm.
well, why are you doing that? I don't
Hmm.
personally do that. Like,
Hmm.
so I'm very interested in people that make sense, and
Hmm.
people that are logical, people that are practices, people that are professional. I'm a lawyer. So at the end of the day, why am I going to be interested in that? So I'm going to play that game. I'm like,
Hmm.
yo, how many times are you going to play me out on
Mhm.
these chats? How many times are you going to block me? How many times are you going to do this? How many times are you going to do it? Because I find it kind of hilarious. Like,
Hmm.
you know, eventually what happens is I end up rocking with the right people, because initially when you start playing a game in a digital space where no one knows each other, you're going to encounter people that are disingenuous. They just don't really
Hmm.
care about you. They're trying to get likes. I'm not even interested in that conversation.
Hmm.
I want to speak to people that are real. So like
Hmm.
if someone sends me an email and they're going okay, then I acknowledge they're real. It's like okay, we can do this. Okay, it's not necessarily going to be now. It's going to be in the future.
Right.
Because
All
that's
right.
just how things work in
Right.
general. You know,
Okay.
you don't walk into a workplace and expect someone to start rocking with you immediately. You got to get to know
Right.
their personality.
Right.
So I think this
Okay.
is
So let me.
I, I think this is YouTube 2.0.
Okay.
And
So
and
let me.
and
So let me use what you said to
mhm,
answer Coach K. I think at the point where if I scale it, so if my response to either Bass or Simon, the level of impact and hurt, the level of impact and hurt that my response to their blue shirts. So if Simon says he has a bunch of them, and I'm like, well, that's stupid and dumb, but really it's about me, the fact that I didn't wear blue. And if I'm like, well, Bass, why'd you wear blue? So I think that level of questioning is fair game. I think even
Mhm.
Bass was speaking to that. Like you can speak, but the moment you put your hands, so now once you increase the level of hurt or what I'm projecting. So let's say I'm just talking about I'm doing those reaction videos, and I'm like,
Mhm.
look at this stupid person wearing the blue. Oh goddamn, both of them have on blue. So now I went past kind of my like, and then now I'm shaming them. Like I'm and the level of the impact is at a greater level. And I think that's to answer your question, Coach. I think that's when we should be looking at. I've gone too far.
Mhm. Yeah, like
What do
the
you guys
shaming
think?
that were. But I think that even goes to what Simon was saying too, because let's say someone is wearing different outfits.
Hmm.
They like, for example, maybe they just like variety. How do we know they're trying to portray this or that? You know?
Right.
Like, how do we know?
In reality, who gives a shit? I mean, it's like that person wears what they want to
yeah,
wear.
yeah, but people
But
give a shit.
Simon said he
People
cares.
This is the
assume
thing.
a
This
lot.
is exactly what
Simon
you're talking
cares.
about. People
Right.
give a shit.
But I mean, but that became the thing where people care about themselves, but to the point where I'm making it a speaking point that
Hmm.
and I'm asking like, who cares? Like, why are we intentionally making speaking points about someone's life, about someone's choices, about someone's inabilities? Like, if we know the person is handicapped or developmentally disabled or have a certain type of mental illness to where it impacts their ability to function, and I'm
Mhm.
capping on that, it's like,
Right.
why? And so what does it do for me? What does it give? And then the listening audience. Why are we just, yeah, yeah? And why are we encouraging it and applauding? The whole conversation about a woman getting hit with a brick, beat that hit, god damn, oh! And then you have the other side, like, wow, that's messed up, that's messed up. You should never hit her. That's right, don't hit her. And we're arguing, fighting about, if we go back
Exactly
to the,
what? Exactly
yes.
what? That's what we're arguing about. Exactly what?
Mm-hmm.
What's up, beautifully? What's your
Okay.
opinion
About what?
about what the subject?
Wait,
Did
are
you
we talking
catch?
about the hitting? Or
I don't
Which
know.
part, Simon? Which
Yeah,
any
what's that?
specific part of the conversation?
I can comment. I'm just saying. I was looking for Beautifully's opinion on
Hmm.
what we're speaking
But
about.
on what? So I can answer your question.
Right. But let me highlight this, Coach K. I want you to capture this, and I'm aware of time because we're getting really close, and it's kind of no one's fault. But I want to capture this live. Simon has been in the chat for a minute. Hold on, hold on, and then be Bass, you and I were going on, okay?
Yeah.
Then Simon spoke and gave his review like right on the spot, like boom. Here's the question. He said, "Hey, what's going on?" Da 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 da. Then most people will say, "Oh, people come on to sabotage the show or to take over." Simon acknowledged that first by saying, "Hey, I didn't come on to sabotage or to," and then when he flipped it back to say, "Well, a good point. What do you think about what?"
Because we've been
This
talking on
this
different things a little bit.
You
So
know?
right, but it's
yeah.
that part where I'm saying, and this is what I asked earlier. I hope you and at any point where you're like, "Ah, I don't want to get into this conversation." I think
Mm,
those are the moments that I wonder if we acknowledge enough. So, Coach, I don't know if you saw it through the lens that I saw it. If I'm in Simon's shoes, I'm thinking, what the fuck? I mean, like, what the same? I'm asking you the same question. Like, have you been listening? And then and then I wonder, like, where does that energy come from? Because I also know the four of us have like a kind of a silent history, right? Now, that doesn't mean we brought the energy tonight, but
mm,
those unspoken kind of, and then when we step on each other, if in the event we step on each other, you ever hear someone say, I don't like you, right? I mean, let's just put
That's
that
like
out
the
there.
get back or
Right,
whatever. Like,
right. Yes, that's
It's
a
about
power. Yes, it's a power back.
mm.
But
it's
then who
about
does that
the
really hurt? I mean, like, not saying Bass, you just looked bad, but it's like my power back. Like, what? But respectfully, huh? And that's what
yeah,
we do to each other.
right.
And then how do we get past that? Because again, now, and I'm not on your tip, Simon. What you say? Put you on the pedestal, but I'm acknowledging, like, in this live situation, we have a situation where it's like, hey, I'm engaging, I'm answering your question. I don't even think you went too far left, too far right. Like, kind of you stayed right centered, and then said, well, what do you think, beautiful? Now, either you caught beautiful in the moment where you're like, and what do you think? Huh? Gotcha. Either that was a
Mhm.
gotcha moment or it was a sincere, what do you think,
Mhm.
Bass? And then the
Mhm.
reverse of about what? And those
that's
moments,
because
how do we address that in those moments? Like, how do we take care of each other? How do we because
that's
I'm
quite
speaking to it.
that's
Let's
yeah,
go ahead.
that's quite interesting.
Hmm.
Mhm.
Because I see these talking points all day long, and the thing is like I never get into a conversation where I'm trying to get somebody or do something to somebody. Like I'm
I'm
Wait.
sorry, hold on.
literally,
I thought I heard you, but I just want to make sure I heard you clearly. Huh?
I
You
never get into a
Oh, there it was
conversation.
right there. That part right there.
Are
It
you
beeped in
tricking
my
me?
ear.
Are you being
You
tricky?
did you say never?
Never.
Oh, okay, go ahead, man. Go ahead. All right, all right.
That's hearsay. Whatever you've
Oh,
heard is
okay.
hearsay.
All
That's
right.
tricky.
Lawyer
All right.
Simon. No, I was kidding.
Yo, I'm telling you, like I make sure I don't because
Right.
I'm wholly conscious of what I'm putting myself into. So I'm wholly conscious of any conversation I'm having on YouTube because I know there's a history to it and that's going to be dragged out when I turn around and start doing my whole thing.
Right,
So
right, right,
yeah. So you know what it is with the practice, right?
right. Well, so but then here's a question, legit question. Are you
Mm.
sincerely that way, or are you doing it out of an awareness that at some point it might hurt, it might come back to you? Are you sincerely that way, or only just careful and tiptoeing?
Mm.
What it
Good
is
question.
that I've seen a lot of politicians come out
Yeah,
and the news and the media and the journalists drag everything out. So what I did
yeah.
on purpose was come out on YouTube and start talking some shit on purpose. And
Okay.
what I did was I dragged everything out. So they've got a whole record of that, and they joined my Instagram page. They joined my Twitter page. They joined this,
Right.
that, and whatnot, because I know where I'm going forward in the future. So
Yep.
it's just like, I understand that YouTube Black Manosphere, whatever they want to call
Yep.
themselves, is like this, that, whatnot. I don't care. Like
Okay.
moving forward, it's all out there. So
Right.
You're beating them to
because
it, kind of thing.
well, I've seen other politicians try it and
Mm.
try and put it under the carpet.
Yep.
So I just thought I'm gonna act drunk. I'm gonna act
Yep.
stupid. I'm gonna
Yep.
I'm
The
gonna
drunken monkey
I'm,
style. Yeah.
yeah, I'm gonna
So
I'm
yeah,
gonna do
yeah.
all that
So only
shit.
here's one concern,
Like
or one thought, right? And I don't mean to cut you off because after this, I'm gonna just have Coach K and I, so we can wrap up the show with our
yeah,
solution or plan.
I
That's
So
appreciate
here's
fine.
you
one
so
thing
you
to
can have me
consider.
up.
Yeah,
Yeah,
here's one thing to
yeah,
consider. But that's how they catch us because they'll
yeah,
take a snippet of when I was talking crazy and giving, being given the business, and then taking your other snippet of I never. In fact, they'll get fancy with the I
they
never,
do the
never, no, no,
same.
no, no, no. They'll edit it and put some music behind it. I never, 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 never.
Right. They'll
Let's
Yo,
make a
listen to
beat.
him before. No, this is wild, man.
they
You
do
can't. No,
this
this is
with
bullshit.
women
No, no,
all
no.
day long. They do this with women all day long. Like they'll
Yeah,
Yeah.
fat shame them, they'll
yeah, yeah,
image
yeah. But I'm
shame
just saying, be
them, they'll
careful
be
with your
like,
strategy because when you
yeah,
say, "Yeah, I did that on purpose," but that's a digital print, and so now they'll take that print and take the new like like I understand that. I think all of us understand the strategy. Like, oh, that was
Yeah.
creative,
yeah,
but just
we're
be
in
careful because
2023.
digital, I get to flip that on you. Some people are very clever with the digital
Yeah,
stuff.
and
So,
this is why I'm on these streams, because
mhm,
I acknowledge that I'm amongst smart people that can
mhm.
give me that game.
Right, okay, okay. Well, thank you.
So peace out.
It's always an honor,
Very
sir. It's good to see you. I
interesting.
haven't seen you in
Yes.
a while. It's good to
Thanks,
see you. Thank
Ivan.
you. Thank you. All right. Bass, thank you. And for those listening, yes, hopefully you caught that. But that was not to see. I feel safe enough with Simon. I feel safe enough with you, Bass, and with you, Coach, for
Yeah.
sure, to be able to have that conversation. And I think that's
Mhm.
the difference. People in the audience, be mindful of when you take liberties, right?
Yeah.
Because just because you could be right and still be wrong. Or you
Mhm.
could be right, but who are you to call me on that? I know I have to be
Mhm.
careful of that, Coach. I have to be
Right.
careful. Like I end up start giving my perspectives and clinical and slicing and dicing, and after a while, I was like, "Well, hold on, Charlie Brown, your face. I mean, slow down." And
Yeah,
I'm like,
that's
"Oh
why
yeah,
I
yeah,
trip over my words sometimes because I'm like,
yeah,
wait, no, and then I get too nuanced because then I'm like, wait, but I try to give them more like understanding, and then I'm like, oh
right,
crap, now my point's
right."
lost. But yeah, I know exactly what you're
And
talking
I
about.
find myself in a position
Yeah.
where people are like, "Who the hell are you to be giving points at all? You probably should
Right,
sit. You got that tall glass there. Is that a good dose of shut the hell up?" And
right.
no one asked you for your. So anyway, I just want to be mindful of for those listening that I
Yeah.
felt safe in being able to call that out to say, hey. But if you also notice me saying, all right, hey, Bass, are you? Is this a
Mhm.
good?
Yeah.
And then the whole wraparound is not just a dump because that's the complaining
Right,
part. I highlight the negativity.
right,
Oh, whoa, look how you tuned your lips up. And dude, I highlight the negativity and then just like leave it, drop it off. Like,
right, right. You
and
do
that's
it.
the part I don't think people catch. Like how did you just drop off the negative part? Told me all kind of stink about myself, and you don't think that you have this stink. You don't ever come on and that's the part where I think people need to recognize. So Bass,
Yeah.
kind of any closing points? Because what I like to do, Coach, if it's all right with you, is 9:05 or my time 9:05. See if we can get out of here by 9:10. But I want us to come up with a quick plan to just leave here for those
Mhm,
listening to see if that plan works. Is that cool with you?
mhm.
All right. So Bass,
Um,
any closing
do
thoughts
a
on the topic?
journal and journal and write things down. That way you can do your homework on yourself and see what needs fixing and what can stay. I'll say that.
Nice. What's the benefit of a journal?
Oh, you can always go back to it. I mean, some therapists say don't read what you write because
Mm,
sometimes the journal is just the dump in. You know what I'm
yeah.
saying?
Yeah.
You just
Yeah.
write it to get it off of your mind, off of your chest, and
Got it.
leave it. And then some people can use it as a reference. They write
Yep.
down what happened that day, and
Yep.
so if they're in the process of getting to know themselves,
Hmm.
they have the um what the notes to
Mhm.
Yep. Kind of
go
the
on.
evidence, the notes, the
Yeah.
Yeah.
data. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
so yeah.
All right. All right. Hey, listen, those listening, or hey, listen, those listening, everyone listening, just so you know, Bass has had some life experiences, and then actually, in kind of this documenting way, has taken notes on how did she overcome, how did she deal with, and then how does she continue to deal with. And she's willing to offer coaching for specifically for people who are like really dealing with anger, not really knowing what to do or where to go with it, not feeling safe to talk to your general. You know, I'm going to go talk to social work so and so. Next thing you know, you got a case. But so Bass has provided a safe space for people to say, hey, if you have those kind of anger, frustrations, and blah blah blah, let me take you through those first few steps. I'm willing to coach you and work with you on that, and have some of these safe,
Yeah.
general conversations about anger. Please drop your line, Bass, so people know how to connect with you on that. Simon, I didn't. I think I've done this each time. I keep forgetting for you to say how people can connect with you. I think you said your email, but Simon, if you still hear us, please drop your link on how people can connect with you. Bass is always an honor. I don't know, Coach, gave you anything else for Bass? Is
I
always
just dropped the link right now.
cool.
So
Okay, cool. No, that was great.
All right, cool.
That was
Bass,
good. That was
always an
good.
honor.
Thank
Take
you.
care of yourself.
Yeah,
We'll
thank
see
thank
you.
you
you.
so
Hmm.
much. Everyone hit PC's link.
Absolutely. Thank you, CBN, for getting that in. And B Family got hers in. Simon, like I said, if you're here. Lou Medic's in the house. Hey, what's up? What's up? Agrees with Coach, with Bass about journaling. Thank you for stopping by, Lou Medic. All right. So, Coach, and I know this is like a rush deal.
Hmm.
Again, I want to be mindful of time. With everything you heard, what do you think are like some basic steps, starting points, tips, some good coaching ideas for people struggling with the fact that they do judge, they do shame, they feel justified in it.
Hmm.
And I like what Simon was saying. Not only do they feel justified, they feel like, who cares? No one else cares. I like what Bass offered with, um, she didn't say these words, but I think she was saying, you can communicate, you can complain, but you have to recognize when you cross that point because
Hmm.
you'll damage relationships.
Hmm.
Okay, you'll damage opportunities and connections that you had because you went too far. So putting all
Right.
that together, what are your closing thoughts slash
S-
ideas or suggestions?
right. Some quick things I would say is, especially if someone feels justified in doing it, I would question, or ask them to just be curious about what why are you justified? What happens if you don't do it? If you see someone or see something and you don't comment on it, notice how you
Mm,
feel, notice what happens, notice
hmm
if you lose or gain anything. And then for those who may not even have acknowledged that it is justified, I would also again ask, when what are the moments where you recognize that you are judging? Is it when you're expressing, like if you're expressing it out loud, or even your thoughts? When are you doing it? So let's kind of account for when it's happening. Are you on social media? Are you with your friends? Sometimes we, like you said earlier, Dr. Nakambi, we do it when other people are doing it, or we
hmm
almost do it to kind of feel a part of the group. um
hmm
and again, when you're doing it, how are you feeling in that moment? What are some of the thoughts that are going on in your mind? So if you're commenting about someone else, depends on what it is. What do you think about you in that? And it depends. Again, I would need like an example. But if you're commenting on, oh, she looks way too thin, well, what do you think about you and maybe the way that you look? How do you feel again when you say these things? Is it a lasting, which I'm going to probably venture to guess that it's not lasting confidence when you are putting someone down or saying things? What are you gaining from it? Um, and also too, is this affecting your relationships? Do you like to be around people who say these things? Just these are just questions to be curious about, because like I said last time, I I'm not going to point out to my client that it's a problem unless they
Hmm.
think it's a problem. So these are just some questions to
Mm.
kind of see what comes up. You know, if is it a problem for you? Is this something that you want to change? Because it's funny, Dark Lake, he calls me Coach Baby Carrots because I've used an example a long time ago where I said, it eating carrots is perceived as a healthy thing, but
Hmm.
you can still overdo it. You know what I mean? And
Right,
are you
right.
are you doing this to escape something? And guess what? If you were trying to, dull a feeling, well, guess what? You're gonna need more baby carrots. And what
Hmm.
happens when you don't have baby carrots and
Hmm.
you have that feeling? So
Nice,
hopefully that helps.
nice. Hmm. I did
Yes.
list out as try to capture some of those questions, threw them in there.
Yes,
So
thank
folks,
you.
if you see these questions and write them down, see if any of them how they land with you. How do you feel about them? I think a couple of them, regardless how you feel, they might be questions that you have to realistically address. Why is this serving you? What do you get out of it? Are you even interested in changing this behavior? Because coach, some of these things actually, if I weaponize this whole thing, like if I weaponize this ability to have a sharp tongue and I didn't get into where it comes from. I'm going to do this quickly. So at what point did I not feel heard? And so now I
Mm,
feel heard by my exaggerations. At some
mm,
point, I felt hurt. And so I'm not even
mhm,
realizing when I speak to certain things, I'm utilizing I'm utilizing that pain and projecting it out. Hurt people hurt people.
mhm.
And then another piece, I think, and if you go back as far as you can in childhood, you go
Right,
far back as you can, how much data that you even talking about, like collecting, like what evidence do you have? But how
right.
much data, how much have I received hearing this negative tone? I know Scam speaks of this about always in doomsday, 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 doom and gloom, doom and gloom. And now I've kind of created this world view that everything stems out of negativity. So it's an
Mhm.
automatic behavior for me. It's an automatic underlying commitment that I have to this negativity without even really thinking about it. And then if you question it and I'm not capturing where you're going with it, I take it as a personal attack because it's my natural, is my underlying automatic commitment. So I would add to your list that people think about what are, I mean, because you know, pretty much what you were saying, where does it come from? And I would ask, what automatic commitment are you giving into that would even lead you or allow, or that you find comfort in speaking from this negative space inside and projecting it out about or on others?
That is that's so good because I want to quickly add some people might want to avoid or feel reluctant to even go there with themselves, like to even ask those questions. And I think that kind of that goes to what you just said. So
Volumes.
yeah,
Yes. Yes. Coach
like
K is always a blast. Air high five.
yeah.
There it is. Yes. Yes.
Dude,
Yes.
that was good. Did you make that noise?
Oh yeah, yeah. Because I don't know how
Oh,
to say. Yeah,
that was
yeah, yeah,
good.
yeah,
No,
yeah,
that
yeah.
sounded like a
Yeah.
soundboard. But anyway, sorry.
All right, listen. Let's give our shout outs and final goodbyes and good nights. Thank you everyone for tuning in. Let's see. Lady Navoa said, "At Coach, I sent you a cash app, but it's still saying waiting to complete. The other side
Okay.
might not be
Thank you,
legit.
Lady
Please make sure
Novoa.
it's a true account."
I appreciate you so much. Oh, what?
Thank you so much
Whatever.
for the support. Yeah, thank you so much for the support. Lou Medic
Yes,
said he can
thank you,
remember
Lady
himself
Novoa.
in diapers and not being happy about being ignored. Mm.
Mm,
And that adds to did that help shape his worldview or
mm-hmm.
Lou Medic's worldview about wow, interesting. I remember this, and no one really cared, so it might be easy for me to hear about something or someone and be like, whatever. They're
Right.
not serious. They're not real. Kind of they. That's some bull. It doesn't always have to sound as negative, but Lumedic, I do believe some of that past experience kind of rubs off on us. And not everything
Mhm.
does, ladies and gentlemen. So,
Right.
I don't say always, I do want to remind us certain things just can't be sprinkled on us. You just can't sprinkle, you know, an entire something onto someone. But some of these
Right.
previous experiences can add to our character,
Right.
can add to our behavior. Um, so thank you again, Simon, for coming up. Thank you, Bass, for coming up.
Yes. Thank you both.
Um,
It's like
let's run through
going
these
to the
together.
Harris Tribe
Oh,
channel
Harris Drive,
also.
they're here. Harris Drive, much honor and salute to you. Thank you for stopping
Yeah,
by.
they're live.
Every okay. Oh yeah. That's why I'm going to jump over to as well. Harris Drive,
Okay, cool.
and I think critically thinking. Rashawn, I don't know if you ever go to his channel. I'm gonna check them out there on Thursdays as well.
Okay.
Listen, those who are here, thank you. Please hit the
Yes.
like button if you have not. I'm stealing this from another content provider. She says, if you've been here and you have not subscribed, I'm so in love with this person. I got to send you the link. She's
I
just.
know you do, because I'm like, who is this?
She says, if you haven't
Ah.
subscribed already and you've been here once, twice, 3 or 4 times, we already go together. You might as well wife me up and go ahead and subscribe. Yes, yes,
Doctor
yes.
got me like,
Yeah.
I know.
So if you haven't hit the subscribe button, please do. We are quite excited for this current journey to get to 3K. I know it's not just about the likes, it's not just about the subscriptions, but to be fair and to be honest, for the intent of the network, it is
Mhm.
about the subscriptions because that means more people are having access and getting entertained,
Right.
getting educated, and feeling supported. Is unfiltered. A lot of
Right.
networks say that, but they're worried about a bleep. They're worried about a this. They take a hit. So the opportunities here is really significant. So from my perspective, when I think about an
Yes.
additional subscription, is not just like, oh, get the numbers up. I mean, think about it. Our numbers compared to whatever Black Man Unfiltered says, I'm going to do this for the people the way we do it. And
Mhm.
he hasn't shied
That's
away from
right.
that. So please take that into consideration. We're not just talking about just numbers for numbers. We're talking about numbers of people who have access to a week full of different content that somewhere in there you should be able to benefit from. So,
Absolutely. That was well
all
said.
right, coach, always an honor and pleasure. CBN,
Yes.
thank you for doing what you
Yes.
do.
Thank
BMU, thank you for
you.
doing what you do. Mods, thank you for being here and doing what you guys
Yes.
do.
Thank you,
Until
everyone.
next week, boom,
Peace. Good
peace.
night.